Welcome to the Taylor Method for Pain-Free Living, a podcast that features enlightening conversations with experts in the medical field that helps to improve the health and well-being of those suffering from chronic pain due to injury. Learn from leading authorities the questions you should be asking to experience pain-free living. Hosted by father and son, Dr. Derek Taylor and Dr. Hudson Taylor, and joined by industry professionals in the health field, including doctors of integrative medicine and personal injury attorneys. Enjoy well-rounded and informative conversations to help you get out of pain while achieving optimal wellness. Dr. Derek Taylor and Dr. Hudson Taylor are the doctors of Taylor Chiropractic and Laser Center in Florida and California. Both father and son duo have earned respect and a solid reputation for successfully helping people transform their lives by assisting them to discover the hidden causes of their painful health challenges, leading them to experience the resolution of their problems using the Taylor Method. Tune in each week to learn about the Taylor Method, Dr. Taylor's proprietary technology that looks at the whole person and identifies the root cause of pain while facilitating natural healing and helps to restore the body to optimal wellness without using drug injections or surgery.
Well, welcome to the show. My guest today is Pamela Fox-Leonard of Jupiter, Florida. Pamela is a personal trainer, Integrative Nutrition Health Specialist, and CEO of Simply Positive Lifestyle. Pamela, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me today.
So tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Okay, so, I'll try to give you the short version. Originally from Michigan, I've been in Florida now for over 20 years. Have always been interested in health and nutrition. I started really early, probably in my teenage years, struggling with weight. Always had insomnia, psoriasis since a little girl, developed into psoriatic arthritis. So I've had a lot of health issues throughout the years. But at the same time, growing up with three brothers, I was very active and athletic growing up. I was a competitive bodybuilder in college. And after college, went on to corporate, but had a side hustle as a certified personal trainer. And then went into massage therapy in 96 and really thrived in the chronic condition. So I was really into working with people with migraine headaches, sciatic pain, frozen shoulder. So the pain part, doing soft tissue, a lot of what you do as well, was very effective using the myofascial release, and did that for 17 years. But during that time, my body was continuing to deteriorate due to overuse and past injuries and things like that, and a lot of inflammation. So I'm very attuned and aware of what it's like to live in chronic pain. A lot of inflammation and headaches and all of those things, and everything converged in 2015, and my adrenals went from fatigue to exhausted to actually burnout, and never wish that upon anyone, because when your adrenals burn out, like, you're really not able to function, just absolutely no energy. And so then my wheels started turning. It's like, well, I can't do massage therapy anymore. My body's burnt out. What do I do next? I have all this knowledge and I want to share it. I still want to help people, be healthy as they can be. And I found that, going from doctor to doctor, that want to put you on painkillers and sleep medications and antidepressants and all those things. So I'm like, yeah, I know that my body has the innate ability to heal itself. I just need to get out of my own way. And found a functional medicine doctor that really steered me into going back to school and getting certified as an integrative nutrition health coach, because I did already have such a strong background. And basically just through changing my diet and my lifestyle, never had to go on any medication at all. But it was a long haul. It took literally a good 3 years to get the full benefits. And I've been now eating clean for 7 years. And honestly, I feel better than I did 10 and 15 years ago. I have more energy, more vitality. I'm out of that pain cycle. I sleep like a rock. And it's all about using food as medicine. I strongly believe it, and have the certification now so I can help other people through the same process, and love to partner with with doctors like you that, we have the same mindset, and we know that the body can, has the ability to heal itself without any negative side effects, just positive ones.
So how do you help people get there? So somebody, I mean, what is it that you feel like you do better than anybody else in regards to helping people on their journey to health? I mean, let's
Well,
just
I think the
identify
first
that
thing is that
first.
I've been through it. I think having that experience and really having that compassion when people come to me with gut issues or sleep issues or skin issues, that it's having lived through that and knowing the frustration of trying all these other things that just don't work. And also knowing, the frustration of trying to change a lifestyle, that doesn't happen overnight. And so being able to work with my clients and break down what they're ready to let go of, what they're ready to substitute and try something new. And I love to cook and create new recipes. So, I try to make everything as delicious as possible and keep within the range of things that the people that the clients are comfortable with. But real quick, in 2019, I was introduced to some technology that really took the guesswork out of going through the autoimmune protocol, or otherwise known as the elimination diet, which you're probably familiar with, removing all foods that cause inflammation, which is a really big list, which can be, daunting and intimidating to be like, oh, what can I eat now? Well, I always try to focus on, what you can eat as opposed to what you can't eat. But with this technology, using 3 to 4 strands of hair, actually the follicle that holds 90 days worth of information, using a coil similar to the Tesla. It's a S drive that connects into my laptop. And within 15 minutes, we get a full report that includes so much information that literally would cost thousands if you did the blood work, if you did stool testing, saliva, urine, all of those things that's combined into one. And at the end of the day, it shows you exactly what nutrients you need in priority order, and then what foods are highest in each one of those nutrients. So you have basically your own customized grocery list, what to eat when you go out to dinner, and a 90-day protocol to keep you on track.
That's fascinating. So how does that system work? What's the process or the means that it uses to discover that data?
Yeah, so again, it's a small S drive. It's a coil, again, similar to the Tesla coil. It's not too big, but we're using 3 to 4 strands of hair that I pluck out of your head and put right on the coil. It connects to the laptop. The information gets encrypted. It goes over to the mainframe in Hamburg, Germany. This technology has been around for almost 20 years now. It's in over 60 countries around the world. And
what's it called, the technology?
It's S drive.
S drive. Oh, okay.
Yep, S drive. And everything is the information then comes back. There's no personal information that goes, right. So they're not getting, they're not capturing your email or your address or your phone number. It's just your gender, the first 2 letters of your first name, and the year you were born. That's it. That's all.
Oh, you can be totally anonymous.
Yes, absolutely.
So people that are worried about their insurance company getting information or whatever, and none of that is there because everybody's anonymous. That's great. And then what's on the report? Was it the show toxicity levels of different metals that they have, or does it talk?
Yeah, it's generalized, so it doesn't say specific, but definitely metals are in there, hydrocarbons, chemicals, radiation, fungus, mold, spores, parasites. What else do we have in there? We have frequency interferences. So a lot of people, whether they realize it or not, are affected from, Bluetooth or 5G or the blue screen. All these things can affect us on an energetic level, can interfere with our mood, can interfere with our sleep.
So this can measure EMF stress to a patient.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's pretty fascinating. That's great. And there's so much EMF stress throughout the world. I mean, we help people with that are dealing with EMF stress. They don't even realize it. They come in wearing their Apple watches and have their phones on them, and they go to bed with their earbuds and earpods that are connected to Bluetooth, and they go to bed at night with their phone not on airplane mode, charging right next to their bed, and they wonder why they can't
Yeah.
sleep very well. So
Yeah.
this is what I like about what you're saying, though, is that this is able to measure the EMF stress that a patient has,
Mhm.
and along with the metals and toxicity. And does it talk about their any regards to lab work, and any association with that you would see on blood work in regards to labs?
Honestly, it's just confirmation. It really does confirm over and over and over again when people come to me. We do, full health history beforehand. I have a symptom checklist, so we go through and we measure out, scale it from 1 to 10. How well you're sleeping, mood, bowel movements. It's like 50 questions on there, and just all measurable. And after that's established day number 1, and then we go back at day 30, day 60, and day 90, so you can see that it is progressive. As long, the more that you can stick to eating the foods that are on the list, you can really see these symptoms, the frequency of them or the intensity of them dwindling
Yeah.
drastically.
And so you do that S drive test every 30, 60, and 90 days?
We do it every 90 days, but
Oh,
we
okay,
do
every
the
day.
assessment, just tracking the symptoms to
Oh,
see how
got
the
it.
symptoms
Sure.
are changing. Yeah.
Okay.
And if you think about, like, not many people farm anymore, but I grew up in Michigan, so I love to farm. I love to have my garden, but you have seasons. Different vegetables and fruits have a season when they're ripe, and so our body again has that innate intelligence that we need different nutrients every 90 days as the seasons change. So that this report is good for 90 days. It's recommended that you get it every 90 days, depending on how you feel, your budget, all of those things we talk about during the consultation.
And then so you get the baseline and the initial consultation, and you figure out all that's going on with the patient. What's the next step for them?
Right. So included in the report, you get a 90-day guide. So, we talk about digestion, first of all, right? We're talking about food here. And if your body's not able to assimilate the nutrients that you're eating, you can still come up malnourished. And it looks at 16 systems of the body. So whether it's gut intestinal, inflammation, adrenals, cardiovascular, musculoskeletal, everything's really easy to look at. It's all in pie graphs. And so anything that your body's in need of, it'll be shaded in or filled in. So those are the systems that we look at. Again, it always coincides with what we've talked about in the symptoms. So that's why I had them fill it out beforehand, so we get an idea of what's going on. And then sure enough, we get the report and it'll show up, time and time again. It's inflammation, or it's, adrenal issues. And so we carry on from there. The guide that comes with the report, is a 90-day guide talking about digestive enzymes, probiotics, the importance of water, the importance of movement. But if people are stuck, if they really need some more hand holding, that's where I can come in again, and we can, create some action steps. We can meet on a weekly basis, bi-weekly, monthly, again, whatever works best for the client.
So digestion is so important, like you mentioned. I mean, if you're not assimilating all the food that you're eating, it's going to really affect your overall health. What do you find? I can see you're a Spartan fan, not a Wolverine fan.
I am a Spartan fan. Go Sparties.
So what are some things that you found in your experience that are sabotaging people's ability to digest well?
It all starts with chewing. A lot of people, like, they're eating on their run, they're getting something in their car out of a window in a bag, and they're shoving it
Yeah.
shoving it in their pie hole, so to speak, while they're driving down the road. And yeah, our the digestive enzyme amylase, which breaks down carbohydrates, which a lot of Americans eat mostly, starts in the mouth, is in the saliva. So if we're not taking the time to really chew the food to make it into mush, we're missing that first part of the breakdown.
Sure.
So, chewing is so important. And obviously, if we're everything from medications to carbonated drinks to sugar overload to caffeine. Those things really are tough on our gut lining. And you know, the intestine, which is where the food goes after it leaves the stomach, is where those nutrients pass through the lining of the intestine and go into the bloodstream to nourish every one of our cells. And we have, like 72 trillion cells, and they're specialized throughout the body, whether it's in our brain or our heart or our muscle. And, they all have nutritional needs. So if the food's not broken down properly and gets into the intestine, it's not able to pass through that really thin wall. Or on the other hand, if the wall has been broken and is permeable, now you've got debris going into the bloodstream that can cause all sorts of havoc on the immune system and lead to autoimmune, which a lot of people are dealing with right now too. So the integrity of the gut is so important. Microbiome, like probably throwing some things out that are becoming more common. The microbiome is the delicate balance of the good and bad bacteria in the gut. Permeability, again, if there's been any split in that very delicate wall of the intestine, you can get leaky gut, which is so important to repair that. And then again, bringing everything back to basics so the digestive system starts to work.
What are some foods that you recommend that your clients eat in order to help repair the gut?
Honestly, the good high fats, coconut milk. When I was sick, it was coconut milk. It was really high quality protein. For me, my choice is bovine. For people that are vegan, I have other sources, but I really found that the bone broth, the coconut milk, the avocados, having great smoothies in the morning that were full of protein and the good fats, those really help calm the fire. We want to actually put the fire out. If you think about like inflammation as a big bonfire, any inflammatory food's just going to keep that flame going. So the more we can smother that, and if you think of fat, just think of something really creamy, taking that fire down to put it out. Those are the things that are going to help heal the gut lining.
What are the most common inflammatory foods that you recommend your clients get off of?
So caffeine, sugar, the bad fats, like, anything that's been fried in vegetable oil, which again, any of the typically most of the restaurants you go to are going to be the cheaper oils. So those cause a lot of free radicals. You want to stay away from like high fructose corn syrup. You want to stay away from, what are some other high inflammatory foods? Corn, soy, gluten, dairy. Gluten and dairy are huge. I would say those are probably, I would put those in the top two: gluten, dairy, and then caffeine would probably be my top three that I would recommend.
Mm-hmm. And so a lot of clients and patients, they don't associate how their diet is contributing to their pain and their inflammation. They just think that pain is associated with a trauma that somebody has or an injury, and certainly it does. But there's different types of stress, and you have emotional stress, mental stress, there's physical stress to the body, but a lot of people totally disregard the whole chemical stress, and how it affects their overall health and creates pain in their body. Can you speak a little bit to that?
Yeah, that's a great question. And inflammation is a very important part of our body. If we do get hurt, and that inflammation begins as part of the healing process because it's flooding that area with fresh blood. But when it becomes chronic, then there's a situation. And yes, and food definitely does. I like to say like 90% of the time, food attributes to the inflammation. So granted, you have an injury. And the healing process, you're going through that healing process. But if you're eating foods that are high in that are inflammatory foods, it's just going to keep that inflammation higher. So again, it's bringing that flame down, right? That bonfire, like putting that bonfire out. And it can be from stress as well. A lot of us, are just running by the seat of our pants, and we produce more cortisol. Again, that's coming from the adrenals. And if we're don't have an avenue to get rid of that excess of cortisol, it gets stored in our belly, around like that tube around our belly that's really, really hard to get rid of. And it doesn't matter if you deplete your calories to, to a very low amount, you're still going to hold that there because it's a chemical, it's a hormone. You start dealing with adrenals. So there's stress, physical pain, emotional pain too. If you hate your job or in a bad relationship, again, that's going to be producing a lot more the cortisol hormone, and that's another delicate balance, another conversation to talk about, using food as medicine to support the adrenals and get the cortisol back in check. Definitely, if you're waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning and tossing and turning and not being able to go back to sleep, and then around 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, you need, caffeine or you're going to crash, that's definitely an adrenal discussion there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And when the people gain that extra weight, that also attributes to the pain that they're having. So what do you do? What advice would you give our listeners in regards to losing weight, and advice and tips in regards to helping them? They got an extra 10 pounds around the midsection or so, and they want to lose that. What advice would you give them?
Sure. Yeah. So first, I would recommend getting the optimal immunity and well-being analysis, the hair analysis that we spoke about earlier, because that's going to pinpoint it right away. The discussion, we can definitely, those symptoms there definitely point to adrenals. But a couple things, again, is the high fat, high protein to heal the gut, because typically it goes hand in hand with leaky gut. Again, that would come up in the report. And, as far as like sleep, what I always recommend my clients is to have their last meal at least 3 hours before they go to bed. So you're going to bed with an empty stomach. It usually takes about 3 hours for the stomach to empty. You don't want your digestive system working while you're sleeping. Sleep is so important. It's time for all the systems of our body to restore and repair themselves. So if you're asking a system like your digestive system to work, it's going to be giving you energy that you don't need because we're trying to rest. But a caveat to that is about 45 minutes to an hour before you go to bed, have just a bite of protein and a bite of sweet potato. Sweet potato is a superfood. It's sweet, so it helps satisfy that sweet tooth, but it has the good carbs in it and a lot of fiber combined with that protein that's going to help keep your blood sugar level even throughout the night. If you're getting that 3 o'clock wake up call, 3 o'clock in the morning wake up call, your cortisol is spiking at that time, when actually it should be really low at that time. It should be spiking in the morning when you're waking up. You should be waking up with energy and ready to start your day. So that is one thing to help your blood sugar. Obviously, water, and more water. Rule of thumb with water is take your weight, divide it by 2, and that's how many ounces you should be drinking every single day. Water's a great detoxifier. Again, fat holds toxins. So if you're holding extra weight, the only way you can expel it is through detoxification. A lot of ways to detoxify, but water's the first step. And the third thing I would say would be movement. It's hot outside right now, but if you can get out early in the morning, all you need is 20 minutes. Put on your shoes, walk out the door, walk out for 10 minutes and walk back for 10 minutes. 20-minute walks is really a great start for your lymphatic system. The lymphatic system is the only manual system in our body. We don't have to tell our eyes to blink. We don't have to tell our heart to beat or our lungs to breathe. But the lymphatic system, which is part of the detoxifying system, it takes the toxins out of the blood. It is a manual pumping. So we all know women that have had breast cancer, they take the nodes out of the armpit. So there's a lot of nodes in the armpit area. When we get sick, we get the swollen glands in our neck. That's part of the lymphatic system. And they're also in the groin. So when you're walking, you're moving your arms, you're moving your legs, you're manually pumping those nodes that are kind of like squeezing them, milking them, so that they take the toxins literally to your kidneys and you flush them. So water, walking, and a little late night couple bites before you go to bed to help keep the blood sugar levels.
Yeah, good advice. And you talk about the lymphatic system and the immune system. We're heading into cold and flu season. And, what advice would you give your clients in regards to heading in a cold and flu season? You mentioned on some of the things here, but anything else in addition that you'd want to add and to keep their immune system strong?
Yeah, absolutely. So we all know, vitamin C, so the antioxidants, food is medicine. So stock up on berries. Berries are the lowest on the glycemic index, so you don't have to worry too much about sugar spikes. And they're so full of antioxidants, which get rid of the free radicals. That helps to boost your immune system. Any supplementation I would recommend would be elderberry, zinc. Again, the vitamin C foods you can add to your dinner, fresh ginger, fresh garlic. Turmeric is another wonderful anti-inflammatory. You can make teas. I like to make a ginger turmeric tea. I just make a big pot of it and put it in a 2-quart jar and keep it in my refrigerator and sip that throughout the day. Those are all wonderful things that will help boost your immune system.
That's good. And then as people head into the holiday season with Thanksgiving and Christmas, we often see people gain another 5 or 10 pounds, and they're going to parties, they're stressed, they're exposed to a lot of stuff that they normally don't have. And
yeah,
I always encourage my patients, hey, it's best to be proactive, and during this time, don't let January 1st roll around and you're 10 pounds more heavier than you were before the start of the season. So, what advice would you give patients as they head into that busy end of the year season?
Yeah, I get really excited during that time because like everyone else, I have my struggles, and it's not that I don't like to indulge, but I know what it does to my body when I do. So over the years, I've actually created some guilt-free holiday meal plans, and it's always about having the plan, right, going forward. If you have the plan, you have less percentage that you're going to fail. If you just go into it year after year after year and don't even think about it, it's like, oh yeah, I'm going to put on those 10 pounds and just give into it. Well, yeah, of course you are, because you don't have any other option. But if you're more proactive about your health, you can have, substitute for the mashed potatoes that taste just as good as mashed potatoes using cauliflower. You add the butter, you add the garlic, you add some salt. No one's going to know the difference. You can have gluten-free stuffing with, really high-grade sausage in there. And again, you're not putting those inflammatory ingredients into the stuffing, but you still get the satisfaction of those savory tastes of the, the rosemary or the basil, whatever you would put into that. And even right down to the dessert. You can, I have great recipes for sugar-free, gluten-free apple pies and pumpkin pies and brownies that will blow your mind. They are so good.
Yeah. And where can they get access to these recipes?
Yeah, well, on my website, simplypositivelifestyle.com, I have recipes and videos on there. And then for the guilt-free holiday, I have a recipe book that's available. Just contact me through the website, simplypositivelifestyle.com.
This has been great. This has been a very educational show for hopefully a lot of our listeners and clients, and so important that we adopt a healthy lifestyle. I mean, you only have this one body here, and you want it to, it's your engine that helps get you to where you want to be and whatnot. And people don't understand that food is not designed just for enjoyment, but it's fuel, right? It's the building blocks for regeneration of your cells and for your organs and brain and just function of your entire body. So if you're putting junk in, you're going to get junk out. And so hopefully the information you shared today, our patients will be able to take to heart and use this in their overall life. So how can our patients get a hold of you, our listeners get a hold of you if they want to call and make a consultation here with you? What's your
sure. My phone number is 754-581-0475. So you can call and we can schedule a consultation. There's no obligation, just to see if it's a good fit. And we'll just talk about what your biggest health concerns are, what's holding you back from changing, and what you're ready to really work on and commit to.
Yeah, great. Any last words, any closing thoughts that you want to leave the audience with?
Yeah, the one thing that really comes to mind, like, speaking mainly to men, because a lot of times men, think that they're invincible. But, when we get in our late 40s and get into the 50s, like some of those symptoms start to really rear and have an effect on our daily life. And so I'd like to compare our bodies to a classic car. So if any of you guys out there, or women, because I love classic cars, I grew up again in Detroit, so Motor City. You would never think of putting sugar water in the tank of a classic car, right? Guys in their cars, they make sure that everything is clean, it's working properly. They're changing the oil, they're changing the filter. All of these things are really important. Basically, if we can look at our body as a classic car, we have those same needs. We need to change the oil. We need to change the filter. And I could go, for the people that are more geeky and want to know, like, what does that really mean? But how those, the blood is the oil and the filter is the liver. And if we've never detoxified, there's ways to do it that's gentle. You're not going to know you're doing it. It can be done through herbs. It can be done through supplementation. If you aren't ready to, eat more broccoli or cauliflower. There's a lot of different things that we can do. But when I was sick, the one thing I didn't realize, I knew I wasn't feeling well. That was obvious. But I attributed it that I was getting older. And that's what the doctors told me too. Well, that's just, you're just going to have to live with it. But when I changed my lifestyle and really invested in myself and my health, I found every 30 days I felt better than the 30 days before. And I was like, oh, so is this the new normal? This is great. And then another 30 days would go by and I felt better than the 30 days before that. And this went on month after month after month. And now it's been year after year after year. And 7 years later, I'm 60 pounds lighter. 12 years ago, I was over 200 pounds. I needed a cane to walk, constant pain. I would lose days and days with migraine headaches and just laying on ice packs and things like that. And if any of this resonates with you, please call me because, if nothing else, it's just worth a conversation. Hopefully it's worth a little kickstart to help you get going on the right track, but you don't have to live that way. You honestly don't. If you have arthritis, if you have psoriasis, if you have adrenal issues, I get it. I've been there. I have it, but now it's so dormant. It only rears its head when I decide to have some gluten, if I really go off the track, so to speak. But it's temporary because I know how to get myself back on. And I really love to help anyone out there that's dealing with these issues and help them, get their life back and get their vitality back and get pain-free. It really works.
Great. I love that example of the classic car, especially speaking to men, I think there's a lot of people that take a lot better care of their cars than they do the vehicle of their body. They're every 5,000 miles, they're getting the oil change. They're doing their 20,000 mile checkup, their 40,000, 60,000. I mean, what happens? This car is in great shape. They get so many more years out of that car and it looks great. And they're waxing it every 6 months and protecting the paint job and taking such good care of it. And, you get a lot of longevity. Contrast that to those that don't take care of their car, don't change the oil. I mean, the car is not going to last as long and it's going to look bad and function bad and just gonna, you can't get a new body here, right?
You're either going to
spend the money. You might be able to get surgery and think you're doing a good job of getting new parts, but that's not always the cat's meow, getting a hip replacement or a knee replacement, a shoulder replacement. Oh, I just get a new knee or hey, it doesn't work that way. It's what and so why not take really good care of what you've been given and enjoy, the quality of your life. Enjoy it so much more when you're healthy. Just think about you. Aren't you enjoying life a whole lot more?
Oh my gosh.
When you were in that sickened state. I mean, and just think of what a blessing that you can be to others when you're healthy and have energetic. Now you're not just focused in on trying to take care of, manage your own symptoms and pain. But you're actually thinking about others and, hey, how can I be a blessing to others? How can I benefit others? And how can I serve them and be of value to them? You're not thinking about that when you're just in survival mode.
It's impossible. It's impossible.
So why not just, be a good steward and take good care of your overall health? So thank you for helping our patients see that, and our listeners, I'm sure will be giving you a call and, setting up some consultations with you. You've been listening to the Taylor Method for Pain-Free Living. Our guest today was Pamela Fox Leonard from Simply Positive Lifestyle. Pamela, it's been a great show, and thanks again for being our guest.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure.
Thank you for listening to the Taylor Method for Pain-Free Living podcast. For more information about the Taylor Method and how you can find lasting pain relief, visit www.drderektaylor.com. That's www.drderektaylor.com.